The new Mr. Beast allegations are absolutely disgusting.
Well guys, I never thought I was actually going to say this, but it turns out Mr. Beast, aka Jimmy Donaldson, is a war criminal. He has so casually inflicted psychological torture on an ex-employee that he literally breaks down crying while trying to recount details. Forget about Ava Chris Tyson. This is not even related anymore. This is about Jimmy as a person and how terrible he is. Because Ava truly was the tip of the iceberg. One of the highest ranking members of Mr. Beast YouTube LLC for a long time was a known criminal on the sex offender registry. His criminal record states that the person he did these things to was extremely young. We're talking under 13 years old, and he was only fired recently with allegations that Mr. Beast YouTube LLC is trying to clear his name from public record. Because of course, they don't want this to bite them in the ass. Things are getting extremely serious. Let's talk about it. After uploading the first video, which was I worked for Mr. Beast, he's a fraud, the much anticipated sequel has finally come out, titled I worked for Mr. Beast, he's a sociopath. In it, we see Jake Weddle being interviewed, a stand-up comedian who used to work at Mr. Beast YouTube LLC during 2019 and 2020 as a writer and someone who appeared in the video sometimes. Like in this video, destroying my friend's car and surprising him with a new one. As you can see, he's right here, and he was one of the people who got his car destroyed. And it was meant to be a surprise. Like, oh, they're about to come out, they're gonna see this huge rock on the car, they're gonna think it's a meteor. He knew about it, by the way. This is when things would start to go from real videos to more staged and fake videos. According to him, of course. Now,
that's how it normally goes. Best believe.
What happens next is that he notices that he's barely making any money compared to how much the videos are generating. And he talks about the political nature of Mr. Beast YouTube LLC, how if you were on Jimmy's good side and you praised him and you stroked his ego, you'd appear in videos more and he would give you random bonuses. But when you were on the bad side, and Jake Weddle was on the bad side, you would get nothing. He would be in videos all the time, but he would then get edited out of the videos most of the time. He tells this to another writer that he really likes on the team, like, hey, you know, maybe we could negotiate a little bit, we can let them know about how we feel, etc., etc. The other writer was reluctant, but Jake convinced him. They both go and try to negotiate, or at least argue their case, and they immediately just are told, well, cool. The next day they show up, they're fired. Of course, Jake breaks down crying here because he didn't want the other writer to lose his job because he loved his job. But that was the nature of the workplace known as Mr. Beast YouTube LLC. He'd start working there in 2019 and was fired in 2020. He was actually very happy to be fired. He mentions how different Jimmy was off camera, how he had only one thing on his mind, to be the biggest YouTuber, and has no sense of any human empathy. When he would be giving people life-changing amounts of money, he'd be hoping that they cry, being like, yes, please cry. It will be so good if you cry. It'll be so good for the video.
I mean, that's normally how I go. Like, that's something that you would expect for something to be that emotion. I'm not gonna lie, if I gave somebody $1 million, like, I would expect them to be overly excited and of course, like, emotional, like, especially if you changing their entire life. Like, and of course that's good just for content as well, but I'm not saying he just do anything for content, but I will say, like, I understand that when you do certain things, not saying that you expect it, it just would be great for it to happen because of the emotion. You know, like, I watch people hit 1 million subscribers on YouTube and I'd be emotional about the stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's just the feeling that you get doing something like that, and it adds towards the reaction, you know?
Almost like nothing he was doing was real. Jake moves on from this, and by 2021, he had moved to New York to work on his stand-up comedy career. He gets a phone call from his ex-employer, Mr. Beast YouTube LLC, in which he's pitched an idea for a video he'd be starring in. According to him, the pitch made it seem like it was going to be paradise. It was going to be very simple. You're just going to sit in this room, chilling, on vacation. You have an ice cream machine, you have a bed all to yourself, a bathroom, everything you need, really. All you have to do is survive in this room for 100 days, and even better, every single day you sit there, you get $10,000. Only the last 5 days are going to be hard, you know, you're going to be tortured a little bit, but otherwise, easy. And to Jake, this meant two life-changing things. First off, he was going to be fully starring in a video, right? He's usually always edited out, and the editors told him it's because of his strong personality. So that's awesome. He gets to actually flex his comedic bones. And second, $10,000 a day. He comes from a very rough background. So this is a very life-changing amount of money. He said yes and went back to North Carolina immediately. Now, what many people don't know is that this video wasn't released, and it was a testing ground for the video that did release starring Jimmy called I Survived 50 Hours in a Maximum Security Prison. Actually, what's even more interesting and wasn't mentioned as far as I recall in the video from DocPack was that the same set, the same exact room where they put Jake was used in the video $10,000 every day you survive prison.
I'm gonna be honest, this set, $10,000, put Young Thug, put YNW Millionaire, they'd be in that mug every single day. They got solitary confinement and they've been in jail for years. Give this to somebody who really been in jail. I bet you'll lose all your money, Mr. Beast. All of it.
Jake has given us pictures, and as you can see, it's the same exact set. And here's Jake himself. Jake says that while it may look cute on video, the facility had a lot of problems. The hot tub had no filtration system, so it would smell after 3 days. The ice cream machine's dairy was very strong, so it would also be very smelly. This room had a septic tank. That was its plumbing system, so that also was smelly. Overall, it wasn't a very nice room to be in.
That was the point, right? You're supposed to be in jail surviving. It's not supposed to be good. If he would have put you in a jail for real, it would have been worse. You ain't finna get no pool table, reclining seats or nothing. You go get a straight bunk and some sheets. In the toilet that's it right next to your face that you sleep.
And he had just agreed to a challenge of staying here for 100 days in solitary with no human contact. He didn't even last more than 10 days. You have to understand, Jake is genuinely a victim. This isn't some sob story. He would literally start trembling and crying whenever he would recount what happened in that room. He was cut off from human contact, but the worst part was that they would not turn off the fluorescent lights. And he had no source of sunlight, no windows. He could not sleep. He still suffers of insomnia today. And
nah, I ain't gonna lie, that's messed up though. That's messed up. I'm positive that he probably signed some type of contract that mentioned what would happen. But yeah, that's torture. Not turning off fluorescent lights while you're trying to go to sleep for 10 days is literally torture, y'all. If y'all ever noticed, if you noticed in bedrooms, a lot of the lights are yellow. You know what I'm saying? But like common areas where people are like watching TV, a lot of the lights are white in the home. You know that because there's no fluorescent lights normally in bedrooms because it keeps you up. You know what I'm saying? You have the yellow light. There's no blue light in it, and it eases your mind, and it's less strain on your eyes from keeping you up, keeping you awake.
And the symptoms started during this challenge. Imagine being in a room, right? A smelly ass, small, stupid room, and you have no sense of time passing. You have no idea how long it's been, the sunlight, the moon, nothing, zero. This is what solitary is. It's meant to be torture. He wouldn't be able to fall asleep, and he was expected to do daily challenges almost. Because guess what? The cameras were rolling 24/7. He had to be entertaining. He had to make jokes. He had to look at the camera and say things. You'd know what I'm talking about if you watched the Mr.Beast video before. He of course complained about this, right? It's hard not to complain when you can't sleep. It's one of the worst things on the planet, and staff wouldn't budge. He'd get visited by editors sometimes and they'd joke around saying, wow man, you know, everything okay? This footage looks horrid. It seems like you're going through a really rough time. Yeah, no shit. The guy can't sleep. He was able to briefly speak to one of his friends on set, telling him about the fact that they can't turn off the lights, and his friend jokingly said, well buddy, that's a war crime. We can't even do this to terrorists. That's sleep deprivation.
Yeah,
and the worst part is, he's right. So at this point, Jake's already thinking, you know what, screw the money, I cannot do this for 30 days, let alone for 10, I need to get out immediately. Then Jimmy shows up, asks, hey, why is he sleeping? And staff says, oh yeah, he's having a hard time sleeping. And Jimmy says, well, wake him up. He pulls 2 briefcases and says, hey, we have 2 challenges today, you want to find out what they are? And Jake at this point is sleep deprived, he's like, oh hey, what are the challenges? Jimmy says, well, the first one is a Rubik's Cube. Jake says, there's no way I can do this. I'm dyslexic. It's going to be very embarrassing. I can't do it. Jimmy cuts the persona completely and looks at him and says, come on, just do it, you know, for the challenge, for the video. Come on. Jake manages to avoid it. But then the second challenge was running a marathon on a treadmill. And by that point, Jake knew he couldn't just say no. He was going to be forced to do it, so he did it. No practice beforehand, by the way, no preparation.
No sleep, none of
He
that.
had just woken up and he is sleep deprived. And according to him, he ended up running from 12 to 3 a.m. I don't know whether it was 12 p.m. or 12 a.m., but regardless, 3 or 9 hours,
it's
regardless, right? You're making someone sleep deprived and solitary run for 3 hours. 9 hours is a war crime for sure. He was allowed to take breaks, but by the end of it, his feet had massive blisters. I don't even want to know what they actually looked like, but it was probably horrifying. They got the on-site psychologist to go talk to him, and the psychologist was like, yeah, dude, it's over. He can't do no more. All of a sudden, everyone was concerned. And he laughs about this. He says, well, guess what? That night, they decided to turn off the lights. The next day, all the staff is there to comfort him, all his friends. You know, he does specify that a lot of them were talking, voicing the fact that this isn't fair. This shouldn't even be happening, that they're treating him very badly. But of course, you know, they weren't the decision makers. Jimmy apparently sat there in front of him like an evil villain and said like some of the most cold things. Like, hey, you know, it was horrible, but at least you get to keep the money.
He said, Jimmy said, can you say to the camera how thankful you are that now you can pay back your student loans? You know how hard it was to do a take of that? Then pretend to make it genuine? I don't want to have student loans. I don't want to be in a cage. But Jimmy's the guy with the money, and if you do what he says, he'll do what you want. You want your student loans paid off? You just be in this cage.
He got out of there and ended up having to pay $44,000 in taxes. So in reality, he got $56,000. Some people in the comments of DocPack's video argued that his symptoms showed that he has PTSD from this. Maybe. All I know is that he couldn't stop crying thinking about it. And that to me is enough. This is literal psychological torture mixed in with war crimes. Jimmy has a lot to answer for. And now, other than Ava Chris Tyson being an absolute disgusting weirdo, we now know that someone who used to work there as a high-ranking manager was on the sex offender registry. The dude even appeared in videos and for some reason, right, some reason chose to put on a mask. I wonder why he's trying to hide his identity. His charge is from the state of Delaware. The victim's age is from 1 to 11 years old. That is ridiculously young. And his charge is 4th-degree sexual intercourse. Victim less than 18 years old. The excuse of, oh, I didn't know, doesn't pass now, Jimmy. This is ridiculous. By the way, you know how Mr.Beast has this philanthropic project called Team Seas where he clears oceans and seas and beaches of trash? Well, it turns out he left heaps of trash during the filming of a video near a body of water.
At the end of that video, he actually says,
If you're wondering, yes, we did ensure the lake was completely cleaned up after this video.
DocPack ended up emailing the site in which Mr.Beast filmed, and they confirmed that he did indeed leave a lot of trash in this area. Interesting. The video ends with Jake crying, but this time thanking DocPack profusely for finally letting him talk about this. Something that he's been hiding inside of him for years. Not just out of fear of repercussion from Mr.Beast and his company, but also because he doesn't want his friends to lose their jobs.
That's possibly what it was, for real. He just needed somebody to talk to.
This isn't just some other controversy anymore. People's lives are at stake here. The Beast games right now that are going on with Amazon already are threatening people's very existence. And Jake showed us that this isn't the first time Jimmy has done this. We need answers and we need changes now because this is unacceptable.
So
anyway, thank you for watching. It's 7.
So I'm surprised how they're trying to say that his videos are fake, but they going through real stuff. So it's like, it's so messed up on YouTube because you either can fake something and be called a fake person who do pranks, or you can traumatize people and do real things, but give them prizes throughout the thing and still be called bad. There's really no, you know what I'm saying? Like you could have got out, and I know that this is all Mr. Beast videos. You could have got out at any time you wanted to, but you wanted that money. At the end of the day, it's a challenge, and challenge, I personally believe, do come with things. Leaving a fluorescent light on, I ain't gonna lie, it's crazy. I would have to bite or rip off like a piece of my clothing and put it around my eyes, you know, just to block out the light when I'm trying to go to sleep. That's possibly something that could help you trying to be innovative in a very toxic environment like that, where you're trying to do a challenge that really can result in your mental health or PTSD or situations that that harms your health or well-being in general. You know what I'm saying? But I will say, if I went to a Mr.Beast video and this dude says the last person to sit and I have to stand for 30 days, I know that I would be traumatized because my legs would be burning. Like, all of the challenges that he have that revolves into something that you mentally have to be ready to do, physically have to be ready to do, or even emotionally have to be ready to do, is going to revolve around something giving. You know what I'm saying? Or something causing you to quit. So I don't know. I think that he possibly did need somebody to talk to. And I could see that people are willing to risk their life over money, risk their mental health over money. And I feel like that's more so why people should look at that. And I think that he possibly can't sue Mr.Beast because he already signed a contract stating if this stuff happens, then you're not reliable, because you have an option to quit from the beginning. Once you realize that this wasn't it, this stuff is happening to you, you take your 10,000 to leave. You know what I'm saying? But it is sad to know that he had to go through something like this. I know if I would have been in there and I see some fluorescent lights, it's just things I would have done to try to make it easier. But once I would have felt that this is taking a toll on my mental, physically, physical health, and it's possibly can cause me PTSD, I'm out. I'm not saying that most people know ahead of time before they get PTSD, but you know when you get yourself in situations that this is not becoming good. Like, there are people that was in Kai video when he was doing a little jail stream where they just said, I got to get out of here, bro. Like, this stuff is messing with me mentally right now. Even though it was a fake set, people just left. You know what I'm saying? But y'all let me know how y'all feel about this. Is Buddy just looking for a quick payday and fake crime? Or y'all feel like there's some reason that he have going on? At the moment, besides all the stuff that's going on with Mr.Beast, he have done some amazing things for the community. So there's really nothing negative that I can say about him at the moment, other than him not speaking up about his pedo co-worker. That's the only thing I can say that he was wrong for not doing, and holding himself reliable like they tried to do Dr. Disrespect. But other than that, I ain't got nothing to say. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts and opinions on this down below. Make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed the video. And until then, I'll see you all tomorrow.